I hope you've been getting on well with your ukulele practice. We'll do something a little bit different this week. We're looking at finger picking, and we've got a couple of new chords to look at. First things first, though, I'd like to go through our warm-up exercise, which you had the tabs for last week, which we'll run through now. Now, I don't mind at this stage whether you're using just your thumb or a plectrum or your index and middle finger to play through each note. Personally, I like using my thumb just for my left hand, and then as I progress in speed, I change to my thumb and index. There's no specific method here. It's more about what's happening with your left hand, and also getting used to the position with your right hand and the strings. Anyway, let's try that together. Medium tempo, nothing too advanced. Now, the key isn't speed here, it is accuracy when you're changing strings and which notes you're playing. So although it's great to play fast, if the quality's not there, then there's no point in doing it. It's not good practice. Anyway, so let's do that together. Let's give it a go at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming back down. Let's give it a go at a medium tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's try it at a fast tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we can do is we can also play that in eighth note, so we're playing 2 notes per beat. Let's try that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... again. If you're really feeling up for it, try triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Just take your time with that, and slowly you'll get better. It's like I said before, it's not important about playing it quickly, it's just being accurate. Right, so what I want to do is look at some chords and talk about how they work and why something sounds major or minor. And we're going to start with the B flat minor chord and go from there. So the B flat minor chord, this is the first bar chord you're going to be learning. Bar chords, once you get the hang of them, they're really easy to move around, and what that does, that opens doors to all the other chords. So there, for example, I've got my B minor chord, but my B flat minor chord. But what I can do is, if I'm moving that around, for example, if I move that upper fret, it's not a B flat anymore, it's a B. So not only do you know a B flat minor, you know a B minor, and then move that up again, you have yourself a C minor chord. So this is really when we start looking at the bigger picture of ukulele theory and what you can do with the chords. And this will eventually lead to you being able to look at a chord sheet, and you might not know all the open positions, but knowing the framework for a bar chord will allow you to be able to play any chord much quicker, much easier, and understand what you're doing. Anyway, I digress. So let's start off by you're barring the first fret on your strings 1, 2, and 3 with your first finger, just like that. And then what you're doing is you're putting your third finger over the top of all of that and putting it on the 3rd fret of your 4th string. Just like that. And play through each string. Make sure that you've got a nice clean note on each one. And there you have it, a B flat minor chord. Now, all it will take to turn that into a major chord is we're adding 1 finger. So let's start with a B flat minor again. Now what I want you to do is add your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of your 3rd string. So we're changing this note up a semitone with our 2nd finger. And that now is a major chord. So that's our B flat major. So you can hear one sounds quite, well, some people would say dark or sad, or it has a particular sound to it. You associate it with, you know, almost this kind of melody. Whereas our major chord sounds light and it's happy, maybe associated with this kind of melody. It can also be used in blues. So really that they have their own applications. But anyway, now you know a B flat minor and a B flat major. Which also means, of course, you now know a B and a B minor, C, which we know as that position. But now if you play it from the 3rd fret using that B flat major shape, you have yourself another position of the C chord. Super easy. So using that same sort of technique, we can move the minor chord around. So we've got that B flat minor. Now if we move that down a fret, down in tone, there you've got an A minor, which is easy. So you're missing out the 1st finger there, which is one of the chords that we need for this week's tune. So there is your A minor. So if you can look at what I'm doing there to change from the B flat minor to the A minor, there's my B flat minor, moving it down in tone, there, and there's my A minor. So there you have it, 3 chords. Maybe it's easier to understand than it is to play initially, or the other way around. This will start to make more sense as we progress in the weeks, but this is just, we're opening the door to a very, very large room with lots of things to learn. So I hope you get on well with that. Practice your chords, play each note, make sure they're nice and clear, and yeah, it's all about accuracy for now, and then when it comes to changing chords and all that, that will come with practice. Anyway, now let's have a quick look at this week's exercises. So on the sheet, on the handout, you'll see there's a picture of 2 hands, and it shows your left hand and your right hand. On the right hand, there are labels for which fingers are called what. So P, I, M, A. Now the names are derived from the Spanish names for your digits. So that's the system they use. Obviously, you wouldn't use your T 1, 2, 3, 4 because that would get a bit confusing when you look on a chart and it's got numbers, and for both hands it would get confusing. So numbers for your left and initials for your right. Anyway, so let's have a look at exercise 1. Now this is a simple exercise just to get you started, and you're using 2 chords, the C chord and your G7. And you are playing your 3rd string, 2nd string, and sorry, 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, and with those according fingers. So thumb for your 3rd string, index finger for your 2nd string, and your middle finger there for the 1st string. Let's try and play that through together. Now it's played in triplets, so that means there's 3 notes per beat. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... We don't have to play that fast for now, but let's have a quick look at that. It's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... simple there. I recommend just trying to get your fingers used to the pattern before moving on to the next one. And try and experiment with the tempo when you're practicing. So let's try it a little bit quicker. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and faster again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. Now let's have a quick look at exercise 2. Now this is the same pattern, but you're starting at a different place on the pattern. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Try that a little bit quicker. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. One more time, this time just a little bit quicker again. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Excellent. Now let's have a look at exercise 3. Now this will feel a bit more similar to exercise 1, as we are playing the same right hand pattern. However, we're jumping between our 3rd and 4th string with our thumb, so they alternate. So when you're starting off with the same pattern as exercise 1, so strings 3, 2, 1. But now the alternating version of that is where you're playing 4, 2, 1. So for this one, I recommend just playing on the C chord for now, which we'll do together, and then we'll introduce the G7 once your right hand is a bit more used to it. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Once your right hand is a bit used to that, let's try changing chords from the C to the G7 every bar. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. There we go. Let's try that a little bit quicker. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. There we have it. That's exercise 3. So that one, we're bordering, it's getting tricky. Exercise 4 is, it's taken straight out of this week's piece. It's a heartache. So this is the hardest sequence that we've got, but it's the most rewarding because you'll be able to play the piece as it's written, which is quite good. Anyway, let's give that a go. Now with this one, I haven't written down on the page which fingers you should use. This might come down to a preference thing. You can, because you're doing a double stop, that means you're playing 2 notes at the same time. You can play that with your thumb and the A or your ring finger. You can play it like that if you like. Personally, what I like doing is I like jumping between my thumb from the 4th and 3rd string. So what I'm doing is I'm using my thumb and 2nd finger, sorry, the middle finger. And my thumb is playing those 2 notes there. So let's go through the pattern really, really slowly. It's a descending pattern, but you're starting with that double stop. So let's give that a go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So timing wise, we're no longer playing in triplets like the other exercises. They are 8th notes, so you're playing 2 notes per beat. So this might feel weird compared to what we were doing, especially since we're playing 2 3-string patterns followed by a by a single 2-note pattern. So it'll feel like you're putting how many? It'll feel like you're putting an odd number of notes together, but it works in the bar because you're playing 8th notes. So with a count, that would be 1 and 2 and I can't count this at the same. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. I can. All right. If I count at the same time, you'll kind of hear where the notes land. So let me play that for you. 1 and 2 and 2. Let me I'm gonna try counting and playing this so you can sort of hear where the notes land, because they're not in triplets, they're now in 8th notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So you can hear you've got this pattern twice, and then you're only playing the first 2 notes from that pattern. So that double stop and then your 2nd string. And that repeats, and that's the sequence for the whole song. So take your time with this. We will be playing through the whole song with our chords, but slowly. This is going to be a 2-week lesson because it's not easy, and we're gonna work our way through it slowly. Anyway, let's have another go at that pattern, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Have it. We can try playing it a little bit faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... and a little bit faster than that. Basically, this will be the final speed that we're looking for. This is up to tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... We're going to take a look at the chords for our song now. So It's a Heartache, the most famous version, was performed by Bonnie Tyler. Rod Stewart, I think, had a version as well. And now we've got our version, which we're playing. It is the Wellington International Ukulele Orchestra version. So let's have a little listen to it. So I'll play through the chords and pay special attention to the finger picking side of things. So we're starting on F. Here's our count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... We've got to repeat. So let's go through that together really slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Third finger. Slide. Great job. Let's try playing through that a little bit quicker. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Let's try playing through that a little bit quicker. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Third finger. And finally, let's try and play it up to tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Third finger. It's by no means easy, so don't be hard on yourself. Practice well, and yes, if you have any questions, feel free to email me back.